Well, relegation in college football might actually be happening. Yes, it is on the table. I'll tell you all about it coming up here in this video. Welcome into the channel. If you have not been here before, I am John Kurtz. On this channel, we talk college football, college basketball, and conference realignment, all from a Big 12 angle. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. You can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. Like, and please leave a comment under the video, whether you agree, disagree, love me, hate me, all of it really helps. We're talking today about a Ross Dellenger article from Yahoo Sports. It is about what the Big Two, the Pac-2, not the Big Two. What am I doing here? The Pac-2, what the Pac-2 may do here. Oregon State and Washington State, they're playing a football game this weekend, a ranked matchup, and they are being left behind in conference realignment here. But they're trying to come up with creative solutions and now talking with the Mountain West. And a relegation model appears to actually be on the table here. So I'm going to read you from Ross Dellenger's article. He asked, will they do something unconventional, creative, and some might say altogether eccentric? Will they leap with both feet into a pool of uncertainty, overhaul how college conferences are structured, and remake the industry's longstanding model? Quote, we have to think differently, said one Mountain West athletic director who wished to remain anonymous. We're always trying to fit things in a box, and we are always late to the party. How do we get in front of this? I like the logic. I like the thinking. It's very similar to what I said about the Big 12 when Brett Yormark took over. You're going to have to start thinking about this differently. And the Big 12 seems to be going in the route of basketball, decoupling. How can you make more money off of basketball? Here, the Pac-2 and Mountain West is looking at it like, hey, we put together an exciting relegation model. Maybe now we're actually a trendsetter. The article continues, the Pac-2's answer, some believe, should be to create a two-conference partnership with the Mountain West around a model similar to European soccer leagues, using a relegation and promotion system for football and potentially other sports. So the goal is to create high-stakes matchups, scheduling alliances, and a point system to fuel interest and excitement in college football's lower tier. In theory, such a system would make these lower-resource football programs more appealing to linear and streaming partners in a world where the industry is leaning on such an income to survive. Quote, and I love this one, quote, it's time we admit what college football is, an entertainment product, said one Mountain West administrator. And that has never been more apparent, not only with what happened this summer in the backdrop of conference realignment, but also what's going on right now with Coach Prime. I mean, we just saw the number. It was over 9 million viewers for a game that kicked off at 10 Eastern this past weekend, Colorado and Colorado State on Saturday. That is unbelievable. And it has never been more clear, like it or not, it is very much just an entertainment product. And this would add a lot of entertainment value. Article says, will the two sides continue to deliberate over options? There may not be a resolution for weeks until a Washington County court resolves a dispute between the Pac-2 and the other 10 schools over control of the league's decision-making powers. We have been talking about that. The Pac-2 is trying to make sure that the rest of the conference doesn't band together, still seemingly being able to form some board of directors and vote on things, dissolve the conference, take some of the assets. They are fighting that in court right now. The relegation promotion idea is only an idea for now, according to Dellenger. Well, the concept has been explored by many officials in both the Pac-2 and the Mountain West. It is only one of a host of possible options in the early stages of examination. Quote, it's kind of brilliant, said one Group of 5 athletic director. The reason it wouldn't happen is that people wouldn't enter into something if they have the risk of losing something big like being relegated, but the economics could make sense. Yeah, I think it's that. And as we're going to learn later on, another thing that administrators won't like is not being able to have a dependable budget, right? If there's going to be a dollar difference in which of the two tiers you are in. But the idea, according to Dellenger, isn't completely out of left field. Developing an English soccer type system in college football is a long talked about endeavor for the powerhouse college football programs who seem to be consolidating into a couple of leagues. The thought by many in college sports is that the top 30 to 50 most valuable college programs will break away and form a semi-pro division that may one day feature such relegation and promotion. But what if the other guys did it before them? I would think, honestly, maybe the big boys would like it to see how it works. And if it does legitimately generate excitement, you'd probably see it move closer and faster to that type of a system all the way around. Preserving two separate conferences is maybe the most important part of this concept, continues Dellenger. The Mountain West and Pac-2 would strike a partnership around a relegation system for football and be managed by a single commissioner, though their membership may fluctuate, at least in football, on an annual or biannual basis. The conferences, if kept separate and recognized as such by both the NCAA and College Football Playoff, would still retain the millions of dollars in assets in existence with the Pac-12. So that would help. We hear about the Pac-12 war chest, right? NCAA tournament shares, College Football Playoff, all that. They could keep the war chest that the Pac-12 has. They would retain automatic qualifying spots in NCAA championship tournaments for each league's champion in all sports except football, right? Like NCAA tournament, your champions could get into the tourney, and they would retain revenue distribution from the college football playoff for each league. But he does note that's a real question, whether or not that would happen. The idea starts with the Pac-12 and Mountain West each having at least 8 members for a total of 16 teams. Think of it as a Pac-12 division and a Mountain West division under the umbrella of its football relegation partnership. As it currently stands, the two leagues combine for 14 schools, and Dellenger throws out the idea of adding North Dakota State and South Dakota State as obvious expansion targets here, which would be wildly fascinating. With all the success that those two programs have had at the FCS level, I would love to see them mix it up in a relegation model with the Mountain West and the Pac-2 here. The idea would be each year or two teams from each conference are relegated and promoted. 2 promoted from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 and 2 relegated from the Pac-12 to the Mountain West. To begin year 1 in this concept, Oregon State and Washington State remain in the Pac-12. The 2 expansion editions agree to join by starting in the lower tier, the Mountain West. But how are the other 12 schools divided? You can imagine this would be a problem. 6 to the Pac-12, 6 to the Mountain West. Is it by conference standings over the past decade or two? Is it by overall revenue figures? Is it a made-for-TV NBA-style draft lottery drawing? I love that. How about that? Like a hole in the ping pong balls to see who is in what division first. But as Dellenger notes, it could get messy politically. A team schedule would include 2 non-conference opponents, 7 intra-conference games, and 3 crossover games. So, for instance, in year 1, Oregon State would play 2 non-con games that they schedule, 7 games against the other Pac-12 teams, and then 3 games against teams from the Mountain West, the lower division. Previous season's results determine a pecking order to arrange matchups such as a Week 1 rematch of the previous year's Pac-12 championship game, a Week 1 game between the 2 teams promoted from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, and 2 teams relegated from the Pac-12 to the Mountain West. He also suggests a bracket buster weekend in early to mid-November, where pairings are determined 2 weeks prior and are based off of current standings with the intent on arranging compelling crossover matchups. I like that a lot. That is a fascinating idea. And then the entire season builds up to a crescendo of a final week that includes 3 games. A relegation game between the 6th and 7th place teams in the Pac-12, loser relegated to the Mountain West. A promotion game between the 2nd and 3rd teams in the Mountain West, the winner is promoted to the Pac-12, and the regular season champion of the Mountain West is automatically promoted to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 championship game, then, of course, where the winner has a significant chance to advance to the playoff. So how about that? You could have Pac-12 title game, essentially Mountain West 2nd place game to see who's moving up, and then a next to last place game in the Pac-12 to see who's moving down. I would be very interested. It would amp up the stakes. It would be very compelling TV. I don't think anybody could deny that. As far as the money goes, though, that is a part of the issue here. How do you divide up money in this scenario? It says, for instance, if the league strikes a media rights deal worth $100 million annually, Pac-12 programs would earn 60%, while Mountain West schools would earn the other 40%. So that's $7.5 million per school, $5 million per school. And schools could receive bonuses for winning each league and being promoted or relegated. But the real problem lies, says one conference administrator, with budgets, because if they're going to change by $3 to $5 million a year, that's an issue for athletic departments and directors in annual budget projections. They would need a balance to be struck in base distribution that allows for budget protections. Quote, if a school is getting $15 million this year, they budget for $15 million next year, said the conference official. Well, if we are relegated, we can't do that. There are also the issues of Olympic sports. How would you do that? Would you do relegation and promotion or not? To me, it makes sense basically just in football. I mean, maybe men's basketball. Outside of that, I'm not sure that I would mess with it much. We've all kind of gotten to this point where we realize football is just a totally different beast. So that would be my suggestion if I'm getting any sort of a voice in all of this. But questions linger, matters are unresolved. I'm going to finish with the end of the article here. But as the Pac-2 Bowl unfolds on Saturday night, the 2 programs off the field have a chance to dive into an unconventional, creative, and yes, maybe eccentric model. But will they do it? And here's the final line of the article. Quote, everything is on the table, said one high-placed source with knowledge of discussions between the leagues. We're looking at a lot of options, this one included. Seems like it could actually happen. I am very much here for this discussion, and not only that, would love to see how it actually plays out and if it is successful. And kudos, no matter what happens, kudos to the Pac-2 for thinking like this and trying to be as creative as possible and make their situation the best that they can. I very much respect and admire them for that. All right, if you want more of this, I'm live typically on Wednesdays and Sundays here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell so you know when it is that I'm going live. On that note, if you are a regular watcher here of the channel, I have an event tonight. I will not be able to do the live show tonight. It will be Thursday. So look for that Thursday night this week instead. But again, you can support the channel on Venmo, John-Kurtz-4. Please give the video a like. Leave a comment in the comment section. What do you think? Agree, disagree? Are you on board with the relegation model? Even if you hate me, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys. Take care, and I will talk to you all soon.